The Rivers State emergency rule, of course, declared by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will continue to be a subject of discussion against the background of the circumstances surrounding the declaration by Mr. President. Mr. President, in a nationwide broadcast, told Nigerians he needed to step in to avoid a situation wherein the crisis that has been brewing in Rivers State and is beginning to take its toll on the populace will not escalate. What with the fact that there were stories about some major assets, national assets, being touched by some unscrupulous elements. As we know today, Vice Admiral Ikwe Ibas has since taken over as the sole administrator in that state. Fubara and of course his deputy, as well as the State House of Assembly members, suspended. As is always the case, there's been a division of opinions on this issue. Where do you stand? But that's not the focus of this discussion. The focus is to look at resolving the issue as soon as possible, and then of course having the elected executives and the legislators back to their seats. Joining us now via Zoom from Abuja is a former National Commissioner with the Police Service Commission representing South-South, a media personality and also a social mobilizer, Honorable Austin Adugame Brimo. Austin, thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning, everyone in the studio. Good morning, my Edo people. Good morning, Nigerians.
Thank you very much. We also have with us a political scientist joining us from Ekpoma, Eromosale Ahiswan. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, Edo Light. Thanks for having me here, Dr. Duke.
Thank you so much. And then we expect Architect Tajus Irabo, who is a former youth leader in the People's Democratic Party, to join us anytime soon. But let's get the conversations on. Let me begin with you, Austin. This crisis that engulfed Rivers State, culminating in the suspension of the executive governor, his deputy, and of course the House of Assembly members. Some say it was avoidable, but it was escalated by the major actors. But just now, we're talking about the constitutionality or otherwise of this action by Mr. President. What's your take?
Yeah, thank you, my brother. And I'm happy you said that everyone cannot here to sell our opinions about the development, that the immediate resolution of the crisis is paramount. Yes, everyone saw it coming. The constitutionality of the development. We may not leave the studio here today because, like I said in my previous appearance on the TV program, I said we have problems with lawyers. Good, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how many lawyers will be here this morning. Every lawyer wants to interpret the Supreme Court judgment. Every lawyer wants to interpret High Court judgment. Every lawyer wants to interpret every judgment passed by senior persons. And I said in that program that this is the only country where a 2 years old lawyer who just leaving the college challenge a senior advocate. They try to reinterpret what a senior advocate. So I don't know why judiciary runs down judiciary. Legal officers run down judiciary. See other people challenging judgments of the court. So but that is not the issue. The issue is not legality. There's a provision in the Constitution that empowers this, which is Section 305. And then that Section 305 is given with all the analysis and giving a subsection that can be interpreted, giving the power to whoever is in the office to take certain decisions that can be interpreted. That is that you can do something, you can take a measure that with you consider extraordinary. Meaning that if a situation is in a particular mess, you can take a decision that take extraordinary measures to ensure that that situation is brought under control. That extraordinary measure did not say you put aside. Because if there was no such decision, it means that you could simply say, all right, army moving, police moving, this moving, and then people involved who are really in the crisis can go underground and see sabotage the security officers on ground. So until this issue is brought before the Supreme Court, that what the president did was very legal and within the ambits of the law. And then the political actors who were involved in this issue. So the governor was cautioned. He was in the wisdom of the president, invited them and said, "You should stoop to conquer." What does that mean? Go before the legislator, invite them. In fact, even if you have to go out of your way to speak to them at home, because prior to that, the governor has done so many illegal things by demolishing the House of Assembly, by playing the role of the judiciary and going on to say, okay, your seat is vacant. You should have gone through the courts, to say, these people have become, can you declare their seats vacant? The governor united said that their seat is now vacant. I will no longer deal with you. I'm going to deal with 3-4 members of the House of Assembly. You are no more legislator. He had no such power. So he did that illegally. Then went ahead and demolished the House of Assembly and kept these 27 young men at home for 13, 14 months. And these people have aides, they have staff. So for 13, 14 months, they were not paid. So a lot of things had gone wrong. And while that was going on, we were looking at Wike, who is a governor. I know in Abuja, his position is just like a governor. We are looking at his own role, his sympathy for the legislature and his sympathy for other people of the state. Of course, he's from Rivers State. All these are actors from Rivers. So who do we blame? You are the chief executive. It is your way, your expertise, your ability to manage this spirit, to manage the crisis that counts. So when the hammer was going to come, it must fall on you. It has something to do with people who are not within the states. If the legislators haven't been restored by the Supreme Court, had come to say, okay, come, governor. If they were now more mature than the governor, go to the governor and say, come, let's work together. This may have been averted. And then before I put all the cards on the table, I privy videos where the government made some incendiary statements by saying that the youth should stand by and he will call on them at the right time. And all these videos and all these comments were before the security agencies and their security report before the president. And he is the chief security officer of the state. So what happened to me was, it happened to the Rivers State, was the best that could happen. And I think I applaud the president for what he has done. But if it was not done, there would have been bloodshed. If that impeachment notice had been followed up, but a lot of people would have been killed. Rivers State would have been on fire.
Hiswa, we've seen a lot of reactions from eminent Nigerians condemning this action by Mr. President. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the PDP, former President Goodluck Jonathan, Professor Wole, and several others have condemned this action. Would you say this is just mere politicization of the issue rather than focus on protecting the lives and property of the people of Rivers State, which is, one of the cardinal objectives of government?
Well, I thank you for bringing this topic to light. I have always said it in my write-up that it is not about the PDP. It is not about the APC. It is not about the LP or the SDP, as the case may be. It is about the safety, the welfare, and security of the people of Rivers State. You see, a state of emergency is declared when the governor is not capable of providing that constitutional authority given to him, which is the security, welfare, and the security of the people of the state, according to the 1999 Constitution as amended in 2011. You see, most people are complaining. Yes, they have the right to air their opinion. It is a fundamental right to criticize. It is a fundamental right to argue for or against. But the action has been taken, and it has been approved by a constitutionally established body, which is the National Assembly. You see, according to the Nigerian Constitution, Section 305, it empowers the president to carry out a state of emergency. And the president has the power. The president is the commander-in-chief who has the authority to control every parastatal in the country, be the military, be the civilian, and other aspects. He has declared it. He declared this term before he can present a letter to the National Assembly, submit to the Senate President according to the Constitution, submit to the Speaker of the House of Representatives according to the Constitution. Then the both of them convene a meeting separately, and they discuss about it in their houses and pass it to third majority vote. Then such is implemented according to the Constitution. So it has been done. I think in 2004, the Obasanjo declared a state of emergency in Plateau State. Joshua Dariye, the former governor of Plateau State, was removed. Obasanjo also declared another state of emergency for another 6 months, whereby Joshua Dariye remained out of office for 1 year, a good 1 year. He was not in office for 1 year. You see, that is what we are talking about. In 2006, Obasanjo also declared a state of emergency in Ekiti State because the House of Assembly had already passed a motion to impeach Ayodele Fayose, the then governor of Ekiti State. President Obasanjo looked at it and said, this is not, it's illegal, and it does not follow, it's a breach of the democratic principles and ideas. Thereby, he declared a state of emergency and they dissolved the House. In Plateau State, Obasanjo made a statement. He said the governor lacks the decision to protect the lives of the people and property of the people, whereby almost 2,000 people were killed. There was a clash between the Christian and the Muslim in the Plateau State. See, people complained, but it has been taken because the president did not breach the Constitution. Now, the same thing has happened this time. See, I would say publicly that based on the sufferings and the hunger of the country, most as I speak against the president of Nigeria, with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but in this process of state of emergency, I will not speak against the president. I am 100% in support of the state of emergency. Rivers State has been a state of war. But if we check from the beginning, like what the previous speaker just said, Rivers State, there has been clashes between the governor and the House of Assembly members, whereby the president had called on several occasions. I think there was a time the president called the governor and the minister of FCT to resolve it in Abuja, talk to them one-on-one. Then they came back to Rivers State. The governor came back. Then the House of Assembly and the governor, they were having issues. And the issue had climbed to the level that it has made the state to become a chaotic state. And whereby the state has become a state of anarchy. And you know, when we have a state of anarchy, it means that the Constitution has been suspended. See, when a state of anarchy means that there is a state of war, whereby the government is no longer in charge, things go on the way it wants to go. That was what Rivers State was leading to. Check, the House of Assembly passed the House of Assembly, many of them, they come to the APC, like 27, and the governor said that their seat should be declared vacant. It was taken to the court. The Supreme Court gave the final verdict of which it was given. Then the House of Assembly maybe decided to send impeachment notice to the governor after some other things. See, there's one thing we need to talk about. Impeachment has been, in the system of Nigeria, not today. We can check what happened in Adamawa State when Murtala Yanko was impeached. If the House of Assembly sees that the governor cannot live up to their standard and they say they want to impeach a governor, they have the right to impeach a governor because, one, it is their constitutional right according to the constitutional right as lawmakers to impeach. I want to tell you that in that Rivers State, I think what has happened, which is the state of emergency, it is a way of bringing order to the state. And the governor, as a person, I want to advise the governor accept it willingly and let peace in the state. It is not a means whereby people can start talking. There should be safety. And
okay, we're having a bit of a challenge with the video from Hiswai Romsale, one of our guests there. We hope you can reestablish proper lighting so we can continue with our conversation. But we'll come back to you in just a moment. But let me get to Austin Adugame. Austin, we're here now. Some recommendations have been coming to find a lasting solution to this. Every one of the major protagonists in this whole crisis, talking about Nyesom Wike, has extended an olive branch to Fubara to come to Abuja so they meet Mr. President and appease him and appeal to him to temper justice with mercy. I think a member of the House of Representatives from Rivers State has also proposed exploring the platform of the National Peace Committee led by General Abdulsalami Abubakar retired to find a lasting solution to this problem. What do you make of these proposals, and what is your suggestion to resolve this issue amicably?
Heart when I heard the news too, because that is the best way forward. Otherwise, we would have expected the leaders of thoughts in Rivers State to have done exactly what this committee, National Peace Committee, want to do now. I know that at a point the Pandev group waded in, but unfortunately they got themselves enmeshed in partisanship, which should not have been. We have eminent leaders in Rivers, not even past governors. We have real political leaders, we have the community leaders, traditional rulers that would have brought peace. I'm not going to think that the two gladiators that we can see, that is Nyesom Wike and Fubara, I do not think that they do not even have elders that they respect. They have, but how have they managed this crisis? Some of them got involved. So I think the best way forward is what we see now. That through the National Peace Committee, I believe that there's no way our former presidents and leaders will come to call Nyesom Wike and call Fubara, and they will not come together and chat. The crisis is an ego war, pure ego war, where this will throw this in public space, the next person will throw another one in public space, and the people are suffering. For the past 2 years, Rivers State have really not experienced any development. Let us just forget this television uh, house, commission of which projects. Let's be frank. There's no peace other than nothing has been going on other than the salaries of civil servants and maybe political appointees getting their salaries. No real development. Rivers State is supposed to be one of the icon, one of the real landmark for other governors because the resources are there. All that they needed is peace to move forward. But I'm happy when I actually heard of the move. So once these two gladiators come together and they agree to move forward, and know that the president can receive this state of emergency at the longest 3 months. The political actors can be called back and they embrace peace, and there'll be no more impeachment, and there'll be everything will fall in place. This argument that the president has no powers to remove a sitting governor, to remove political leader, it's not removal. He has extraordinary powers to do anything peace. By now, we have been counting dead bodies. I like my colleague in the studio said, we all saw what happened to the pipelines. Immediately, the impeachment notice was given to the government. We saw the pipelines blowing up. And can we afford that at this precarious economic times when the dollar is skyrocketing, our naira is nosediving, our petroleum product is from 1,000 today to 800, the next day is back to 1,000. Is that then we start blowing up our pipeline because of the ego of 2 or 3 persons? It's not something this country can afford. So I support the president, and I'm happy that the majority of Nigerians are in support of this state of emergency. And I will tell you that the errant political actors in Rivers come to the negotiating table, and this crisis will put in short time.
All right, thank you. Rosali, thank you. It's good to have you back on the conversation. Quickly, efforts were made in the past to resolve this issue. I mean, at the level of Mr. President, calling on Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, who is a major gladiator in this whole conversation, as well as Sim Fubara and other stakeholders. And we were told that Mr. President's efforts yielded some results because both parties agreed on the terms that were outlined, and that seems to have paved the way for peace. But by the time they went back to their respective trenches, and then the hostilities started all over again. So what is the guarantee that any effort put on the table to resolve this issue will bring forth, will yield result, will bear fruits ultimately?
Okay, I think the move that the president made was a welcome development, because most of us then we could recall that after the president had called the former governor, Yesu Wike, who is the present FCT minister, and the present incumbent governor, Fubara, Simin Alaye Fubara. I think both of them now, I think there was a kind of settlement in River State, whereby the both of them, the state was calm at that moment. Before other things started coming up, which with maybe disagreements, conflict has to do with disagreements among people. There are many things that can trigger conflict, maybe based on agreements, failed to fulfill a particular agreement that was made before election, or fail to heed to the advice of a predecessor or a godfather. These are things that can trigger conflict in a particular state. I think if I like citing examples as a political scientist, we look at the case of the Anambra state between Chris Uba and Chris Ngege. What happened then? And let us look at Edo State again. What happened some time ago? And there's some other states in Nigeria that things like this occurred. I will tell you that let me go to the suspension aspect of the government, which many persons were complaining. It is not the total removal of the government. It's just a suspension, 6-month suspension. Why was the governor suspended? Because there's no way the sole administrator can be in the state. Why the governor, the House of Assembly, and the deputy governor, they are also in the state working. It cannot be possible because the state administrator may not be able to carry out his function effectively. And the crisis may not be resolved because the same people that are that we kind of assumed championing the crisis are staying in office. Certainly the crisis may continue because they still control the constitutional process of the state. So I want to advise our people in Nigeria that, let us calm down. It is not a matter of the PDP, the APC, the LP, and the SDP, as I said. It is a matter of the safety of the people of River State and the security of lives and property. It will help the River State to settle down. We know, like what I said in Plateau State, it helped Plateau State to settle down within that 1 year. Okay. Whereby Plateau State later settled down, and because there was a state administrator. Most people are afraid of the military. Yeah. They say when military action is taken in a state, it calms the situation down. We can recall how military actions have been taken to different corners of the country. Like I remember in Ekpoma sometime when there was the rate of criminality was becoming high, that it could not allow people to sleep in their houses, and the government could not handle it properly the way it was. But the federal government took it and sent military to Ekpoma direct.